Welcome to Signature TV News. I am Charles Pius. In the headlines, plight of displaced persons in focus as international community marks World Refugee Day. Abia State government approves bursary for 271 students in law schools. On the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa calls for stronger tie between Nigeria and South Africa. And in sports, Nigerian Super Eagles drops 8 points in the latest FIFA World Ranking. Now the news in detail. The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, says about 120 million people were displaced by persecution and conflicts around the world in 2024. The situation is not getting better anytime soon, going by increasing carnage caused by wars and threats of wars still going on around the world and this resultant dislocations. As the international community marks the World Refugee Day on 20th June 2024, correspondent Ebenezer Odo takes a look at the new dimensions to the refugee crisis.
The theme of this year's celebration is solidarity with the refugees. The 1951 Refugee Convention acknowledged a refugee as an individual who is unable to return to his or her country of origin owing to founded fears of being affected by his or her race, religion, or social group. Following crises and violences in the world, many people across the globe who face extermination in their countries seek asylum outside their countries of origin and are received by their host countries. In Nigeria, violence from Boko Haram in the northeast for over 15 years now has ravaged the zone, rendering residents homeless as they now live in camps and in regret. In the southeast, southwest, and north-central zones, it is a tale of woes. While the activities of herdsmen led to the establishment of Amatekun in the southwest, splinter groups of unconventional security outfits, including the forest guards, have emerged in the southeast to put the activities of the herdsmen in check. Kindness Jonah, human rights activist and member Civil Liberties Organization Enugu, in an interview explains that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 by the United Nations was in recognition of rights that a person has to seek asylum from persecution in other countries of the world.
You are forced to exit from that your natural domain by external impinging force that wants to take your life, then you are qualified to be a refugee. In fact, even with the same from one village to the other, if the problem in one village makes you to leave your domain to another village, then you are a refugee.
Today, to remember the refugees, even those in the camps and those that, refugees is extended so many ways.
If you declare it a day, what have you done really to allay the feelings of the people? At least our leaders, do they hear us?
Although the World Refugee Day coincides with African Refugee Day, as approved by the United Nations, respondents say the event is worthwhile, but regretted that federal government is anchoring its intervention on religion.
Federal government is ambivalent on this issue. Federal government is neither here nor there. Federal government is pretending to help refugees. I tell you, now Nigerian refugee status is endemically Islamically concerned. If we want to address this issue of refugee status or IDP camp in Nigeria, then there must be a religious connotation well addressed. Number one and most important. Number two is that who is sponsoring the IDP camp? If it's government and good-spirited individuals, they should also make sure that the domain, the exiting community, that is peace returns here, so that the people will swiftly go back to their place.
The respondents say the country is yet to celebrate her internally displaced persons and refugees, as no concrete plans are being made to return them to their places of origin and check activities of the Boko Haram and herdsmen in the country. In Enugu, Ebenezer Odo, Signature TV News.
Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State has forwarded to the State House of Assembly for consideration a list of nominees for Transition Committee Chairman of the 21 local government areas of the state. This is coming in the face of persistent calls and demand by civil society organizations, stakeholders, and other non-state actors for the conduct of local government elections in the state. The list is being forwarded for the House confirmation in line with Section 208 of the Local Government Law 1999 as amended, Number 6 Law of 2012, which requires the governor to send the names of 21 transition committee chairmen and members of local government in the state whose tenure will be for 3 months. The list contains 14 new names, while 6 former transition committee chairmen are to be retained. The Speaker, Anambra House of Assembly, Somtochukwu Udeze, after reading the letter at plenary on Wednesday, referred it to the Chairman Screening Committee, who is also the Deputy Speaker, Chukwuma Okoye, for further legislative action. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has condemned in the strongest terms the recent outbreak of violence and subsequent breakdown of law and order at various local government council secretariats in Rivers State. Supporters of 2 political factions had clashed over the tenure of local government council chairmen, which unfortunately led to the tragic deaths of a police officer, Inspector David Mbada, and Samuel Nwigwe, a vigilante member at Eberu Omoma in Omoma local government area. According to the Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the IGP has directed the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, Olatunji Disu, to heighten security measures across the state to prevent further violence and to institute thorough investigations into the killing of the police officer and the vigilante operative. Adejobi noted that the IG has also deployed operatives of the Force Intelligence Response Team to assist the Rivers State Command in apprehending the killers of the police officer and the vigilante member.
In response to these heinous acts, the Inspector General of Police has directed the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, CP Olatunji Disu, to heighten security measures across the state and institute thorough investigations into the killing of the police officer and the vigilante operative, as well as the general violence which erupted in the state. The Inspector General of Police has specifically deployed operatives of the Force Intelligence Response Team, IRT, to assist the Rivers State Command in apprehending the killers of the police officer and the vigilante member. The IGP seriously warns individuals and groups of people who have a penchant for senseless attacks and mindless killings of police officers and other security operatives across the country to desist forthwith, as the fullest force of the law will be meted on them.
The police boss called on all residents and political stakeholders in the state to exercise restraint and seek peaceful means of resolving differences. He extended his heartfelt condolences to the families, friends, and colleagues of the deceased, noting that their dedication and sacrifice in the line of duty will not be taken for granted. The Kano State Police Command has called on the public to remain peaceful and patriotic as the Federal High Court prepares to hear sensitive cases related to the emirship tussle in the state. In a statement issued by its spokesman, Abdullahi Jigawa, in Kano on Thursday, the command reiterated its commitment to protect lives and property while warning against any attempt to incite violence. Jigawa stated that the command will, in collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, strictly enforce the ban on public protests, processions, and unlawful gatherings imposed by the state government. He warned that violators and their sponsors will face legal consequences and urged the public to cooperate with the security forces and provide actionable information to preserve peace and detect deviance. Meanwhile, the Abia State government has approved the payment of bursary to 271 state-sponsored students in the various law schools across the country. The State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Oke Kanu, made this known during a press briefing on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting at the Government House, Umuahia. He said that the government, through its untiring efforts, had secured accreditation for 18 courses for Abia University, Uturu, as part of the efforts to ensure that the education sector turns out better. On the recent case of Abia students who were abandoned in India by the previous administration, the commissioner said that the government had approved the payment of the school fees for the students to enable them to continue with their education. And still to come, Akwa Ibom state government distributes farm inputs to cooperative societies. Stakeholders seek amendments of the Petroleum Industry Act. Join us for detail after the break. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking to sack Ola Olukayede as a chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Justice Obiora Egwatu, in a statement, Justice Obiora Egwatu, in a judgment, dismissed the suit on the grounds that the applicants lacked the legal right to institute the case. An Abuja-based legal practitioner, Victor Opatola, had filed the suit against President Bola Tinubu over his appointment of Olukayede as EFCC boss on the ground that he did not meet the years of service required by law for the office of chairman of the anti-graft agency. He had listed the President of Nigeria, National Assembly, Attorney General of the Federation, and Olukayede as the first to fourth respondent in the suit marked. Olukayede, who was represented by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Olumide Fusika, in the last adjourned date, challenged the legal authority of the plaintiff to institute the suit in the first instance and accordingly asked the court to dismiss the suit. The Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service, NHFSS, has commended Kogi government on the recruitment of 1,050 young men and women to join its fold to boost security in the state. A statement by the Commandant General of NHFSS, Dr. Joshua Osatimehi, on Thursday in Abuja said that recruitments would go a long way in helping the government's resolve to deal with the challenges of terror attacks, banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and other related criminal activities in the state. He said that the state governor, Ahmed Ododo, had through the action demonstrated that he meant business when he recently told all criminal elements to leave the state. The Deputy Commander General of the service in charge of technical services, John Mechi, commended the Speaker and members of the Kogi State House of Assembly for the promptness with which they approved the governor's bill describing them as the representatives of the people. The Kogi State House of Assembly on Wednesday approved the recruitment with a view to strengthening the security architecture of the state following the request by Governor Ododo to the Assembly for approval of the recruitment of 50 people from each for the 21 local government areas of the state. The Akwa Ibom state government has commenced the distribution of farm inputs to farmers, groups, and cooperative societies in the state as part of measures to boost food production. The distribution of the items that was flagged off by Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Ofyong Ofo, in Uyo on Thursday. Ofo, while addressing farmers and other stakeholders during the exercise, reiterated government's resolve to support different categories of farmers in the state with farm inputs, agrochemicals, and access to finance with the aim of expanding farming activities. The ministry, she said, had also deployed extension agents to each of the benefiting cooperative societies, schools, and farming groups to offer technical supports, monitor, and evaluate progress, urging the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the items to enhance food sufficiency in the state. The commissioner warned the beneficiaries against the selling of the inputs, stressing that anyone caught in such act would be penalized. The chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, in the state, Basi Enwang, thanked the government for supporting farmers from time to time and assured that the farmers will make maximum use of the farm inputs provided by the state government. Prices of food commodities in recent times have shot up very high in markets in Enugu metropolis beyond the reach of the common man, leaving many homes to starve themselves for want of what to eat on a daily basis. Signature TV correspondent Victoria Kanu just got back from a market survey of prices of foodstuffs at New Markets, Enugu, and would now tell us more.
The cost of living has escalated drastically in recent times, making it difficult for many households in Enugu metropolis to afford at least 3 square meals per day. Residents have voiced out their frustration, expressing concern over the unaffordability of the basic necessity of life.
That rice is too cost. Before the 25,000 one bag, but now the 60,000. Let them penta. If you sell and finish, almost 500. Now that 500 I go use from transport, from chop more food, from anything, feed my family to go to school. In fact, myself I don't tire home. All not in Nigeria don't tire for me.
One cup of beans now is 500 naira. Not like last year. Last year when they say beans 150, 200, but now it's 500 naira. A bag of also now is about 200,000 naira. So things are, people are worried. People don't even know where to go now.
A market survey conducted by Signature TV correspondents shows that the prices of things have skyrocketed since the removal of fuel subsidy in the country. The price of a penta of rice moved from 3,000 naira to 6,000, while tomatoes has now become gold because of the price, as half penta cost 5,000 naira now.
Going to food stuff, one pint of rice is 6,500. The poor man like me no get money to buy rice. I no go talk about rice. The only thing I know now, if I get money, na garri I go buy for my children. If you go to Okpa where we dey buy 3,500. As of now, if you reach there, one penta, 10,000. A poor woman like me, I no have money to buy Okpa. Talk more another thing. You talking about fresh tomato. Now person will get money to buy rice, go buy fresh tomato now.
You don't know how to go about it again, because we that normally buy to look for what our children will eat, it's very difficult for us. Now, half penta of tomatoes, we are selling it before 1,500, but now it's 5,000. So government should help.
It's very difficult for someone to eat 3 square meal nowadays, because as you can see, penta of beans that it used to be sold 3,000 naira before is now 8,000 naira. Okpa, that is Bambara granite, understand? Okpa is now 10,000 naira. A penta of beans is now 7,500 naira. So when you look at it, you will now see that government, they have to do something about this situation, understand? Because the masses is dying of hunger.
Meanwhile, the people are calling on the federal and state government to urgently address the situation, as many homes in the country starve on regular basis these days. In Enugu, Victoria Kano, Signature TV News.
The National Bureau of Statistics says the average retail price of litre of petrol increased from 238 naira 11 kobo in May 2023 to 769 naira 62 kobo in May 2024. In its petrol price watch for May 2024 released in Abuja on Wednesday, NBS stated that the May 2024 price represented a 223.3% increase over the price recorded in the month of May 2023. The average retail price increased by 9.75% when compared with the average price value for the month of April. According to the report, Jigawa State paid the highest average retail price of 937 naira 50 kobo per litre, followed by Ondo and Benue at 882 naira 67 kobo and 882 naira 22 kobo. On the other hand, Lagos, Niger, and Kwara paid the lowest average retail price at 636 naira 80 kobo, 642 naira 16 kobo, and 645 naira 15 kobo. Further analysis by zones show that the Northwest Zone recorded the highest average retail price in May 2024 at 845 naira 26 kobo, while the North Central recorded the lowest price of 695 naira 4 kobo. Some stakeholders have called for the amendment of the Petroleum Industry Act to abolish Section 257, which criminalized an entire community when an oil facility is tampered with by any hoodlum within the area. The stakeholders, which include leaders of host communities, civil society organizations, legal and environmental activists, made the call at the 3rd edition of the Niger Delta Social Ecological Alternatives Convergence in Abuja on Wednesday. The conference, which was organized by the Health of Mother Earth Foundation, also demanded justice for people of the region for the many years of environmental degradation by oil companies. They called for the restoration of the Niger Delta environment before the global transition to clean energy is concluded. In his remarks, the director of the Center for Advanced Law Research at the Rivers State University, Professor Lucky Worika, said the act, which took 20 years before it was passed into law, should not have had such a clause in the first place. According to him, the provision is that if there is sabotage or alleged sabotage in communities, that they cannot benefit from the host community trust fund, only succeeded in criminalizing an entire community for the offense of one or a few, saying it is anachronistic and should be deleted immediately. And on the foreign scene, Kenyan police fire tear gas during Nairobi protests. Join us again after 4 more stories. Stay with us. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa on Thursday in Johannesburg underscored the need for a stronger partnership between Nigeria and his country. Ramaphosa stated this during a private visit with President Bola Tinubu in Johannesburg. Thanks Tinubu for honoring the invitation to attend his inauguration for a second time in office. President Tinubu said that Ramaphosa's inaugural speech captured most of the challenges faced by African countries and the need for more collaboration among leaders and citizens to provide solutions. Tinubu said he enjoyed his speech at the ceremony, saying he was delighted to listen to Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa was re-elected for a second term on June 14th following an agreement for a government of national unity between the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance. And elsewhere, police fired tear gas and deployed mounted units in Kenyan capital Nairobi on Thursday as hundreds protested against plans to raise taxes aimed at reducing the budget deficit. Protesters say the tax rises will hurt the economy and raise the cost of living for Kenyans who are already struggling to make ends meet. A Kenyan parliamentary panel on Tuesday urged the government to scrap some new taxes proposed in its finance bill, including new ones on car ownership, bread, cooking oil, and financial transactions. Demonstrators also protested in towns and cities including Nyeri, Nakuru, Eldoret, and Kisumu. Heavy rainfall persisted in Bangladesh's northeast, worsening the flood situation in the Sylhet region. People in Sylhet city were seen wading through knee-deep water as thousands of houses were inundated, with one local resident describing the conditions as pathetic. United News of Bangladesh News Agency, citing Sylhet district administration officials, said over 800,000 people were affected by the floods on Wednesday. The Bangladesh Meteorological Department said heavy rainfall would persist around Sylhet on Friday and warned of landslides around hilly areas in the region. Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian, at a press briefing in Beijing on Thursday, said the United States should immediately revoke arms sales to China's Taiwan region. Lin made the remarks in response to a media question about the statements released by Pentagon's Defense Security Cooperation Agency on Tuesday, saying that the U.S. State Department had approved the arms sales of drones and missiles worth about $360 million to the Taiwan region. Lin said the U.S. states has disregarded their consistent opposition and solemn representations and continues to sell arms to China's Taiwan region, which seriously violates the One China principle. The United States has repeatedly conducted arms sales to Taiwan, which has supported the Democratic Progressive Party authorities in their adherence to the Taiwan independence position and their provocation against the One China principle. This fact once again proves that the biggest threats to peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait and the biggest damage to the status quo in the Taiwan Strait are the separatist activities of the Taiwan Independence Forces and the connivance and support of external forces led by the United States. Lin pointed out that the DPP authorities' attempts to seek independence by force and the United States' insistence on supporting independence by force will inevitably bring disaster to themselves and end in failure. Still to come, France captain Mbappe takes part in training after nose injury. Join us for more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Signature TV News. Nigeria's Super Eagles have dropped by 8 points from 30th to 38th in the FIFA World Ranking for June after their poor performance in the World Cup qualifying matches. According to the ranking table released by the World Football Governing Body on Thursday, Nigeria dropped from 1,520 points, but 27 points it had in April to 1,498.93 points. The drop on the global stage also reflected on the continental stage as the Nigerian team dropped from the 3rd position to the 5th behind Morocco, Senegal, Egypt and Ivory Coast. Recall that the Eagles played a 1-1 draw against Bafana Bafana of South Africa in Uyo and suffered a 2-1 defeat to Benin Republic in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. On the global scene, the top 3, however, remained the same as Argentina remained in the 1st position, with France 2nd and Belgium occupying the number 3 position as Brazil and England swapped the 4th and 5th positions. And meanwhile, Kylian Mbappe have commenced training with his French teammate on Wednesday after he broke his nose 2 days earlier in his side's 1-0 victory over Austria. The 25-year-old striker joined the training pitch around 20 minutes after his fellow players initially running laps of the stadium in Paderborn on his own. He later took part in some light training exercises. France will take on the Netherlands on Friday, although it is unclear if Mbappe will take his part in the starting after his injury. It is reported that he does not need surgery, but will have to wear a protective mask. Mbappe's teammates Theo Hernandez and William Saliba trained away from the main group. And still in sports, Germany held a training session on Thursday, a day after their 2-0 win against Hungary in their second Group A match that made the host nation the first side to qualify for the knockout stage at Euro 2024. With 2 wins out of 2, the Germans are top of Group A and guaranteed a spot in the round of 16. While few will have the bet against the home side, it was in fact Germany's first competitive win over Hungary since the 1954 World Cup final. That was the first of Germany's 4 world titles, and fans are now dreaming of witnessing a 4th European Championship triumph on home soil. Police in Frankfurt published a video on social media platform X on Thursday to reassure fans before the Euro 2024 Group C match between Denmark and England Thursday evening. The police say that they are making intensive preparations for the high-risk match, which is scheduled for in Frankfurt with the match between Denmark and England. They are deploying numerous police officers throughout the city to ensure the safety of the audience. England's first match at the Euros against Serbia in Gelsenkirchen on Sunday saw scuffles between fans at a restaurant before kickoff. But police in Germany say the tournament has been peaceful so far, with very few incidents between fans. And that's Signature TV News this hour. I'm Charles Pius. Thank you for watching. See you next time.